So hello to our Donald Trump overlords. Today you're going to watch the review by Team 2 in the Pokemon Apprentice League. This is Santi and I'm joined by Genius X. Say hi.
Hello.
And today we're going to be reviewing the San Francisco Arcanines coached by Septile MC. So, Genius, tell us about the draft.
So, as you can probably see on Santi's screen right now,
Yep.
the San Francisco Arcanines, I believe his real name is George, has a pretty diverse draft in terms of mons. He has Mew, Garchomp, Raikou, Registeel, Suicune, Superior, Manchow, Volcarona, Drapion, and Exploud. So, the first thing that when I look at this draft, it's the striking thing that hits me is that this draft doesn't have a solid electric resist. So you might see Garchomp as his only ground type and his only immunity to electric in his whole draft, which in my opinion isn't really a solid electric resist because most electric types run Volt Beam coverage nowadays, which
Or Hidden Power Ice.
Electric move and the Ice move, which hits Garchomp very severely. So that is the first impression I got from his draft. But other than that, I feel like it's an extremely versatile draft, and I feel like it can do well in the GBA.
So one thing I noticed is that his draft has no ghost types. He has no rock types either, but that's not really important in leagues. But a ghost is pretty important to spin block. So that's a little thing I don't like in his draft. But otherwise I think it's good too. And so, let's first of all talk about Mew.
I don't think ghost types are extremely important for spin blocking, especially because he doesn't need that much hazard on his opponent's side. Since like his only hazard setters are rocks. Like he does not have like spikes or toxic spikes.
Yeah. He only has Mew, Garchomp, and Registeel for rocks.
Yeah, Registeel and Garchomp for rocks and Mew. Like he doesn't have like spikes or toxic spikes that he might use too much. Does Drapion get toxic spikes?
Yeah, Drapion gets toxic spikes.
Yeah, he might run that like sometimes, but like doubt his opponent will. So I doubt like not having a ghost type will impact his draft too much. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so let's talk about his picks one by one. First of all, so first we have Mew, and Mew, as we all know, is something you can't predict. It can run any set. You can put HP in defense to make it defensive well. You can make it specially defensive, speedy, physically offensive, specially offensive, sword, wall breaker, sweeper. It has too much possibilities. The one small thing that's a problem is that on his team only Mew and Togekiss get defog. And so that means if he doesn't bring Togekiss, then he's going to be forced to bring defog Mew. So that kind of ruins the surprise that Mew comes with. If you see what I mean.
So one thing that I'm pretty sure for the GBA this season is that there can only be one Pokemon that uses a Z move on each team.
Indeed.
So which Pokemon is it on this
So
team?
let me just check. I have the list over here. Let me just check. And Mew is his Z move user.
Yeah, so Mew is a Z move user. Now, Mew has a really interesting Z move, which is Genesis Supernova, if you don't know.
I'm pretty sure that move is banned.
Mew DMD, and then if you have the move Psychic, you can have a base 175 move.
Mew.
185 base power. So, and it also summons Psychic Terrain, which is a really, really interesting move, in my opinion. So, the reason I think that George chose Mew as his Z move over mons such as Garchomp is because that his team is actually pretty weak to priority if you think about it. Yeah. So when you have sweepers such as Volcaroners, you don't want him to get hit by moves such as Extreme Speed or Water Shuriken or anything related to that. So that could be a really, really cool tech that he could run to stop his opponent from using priority. And another thing is that his team also does not run a lot of priority. Like
no, his only priority is fake out Mew and fake out Mienshao.
Yeah, which I doubt he's gonna run quite a lot of time. So that is also really, really interesting because not only can you run defensive sets, another set that has been really common lately, not only in OU but I believe also in League, is Nasty Plot Flamethrower or Genesis Supernova Mew. Because Genesis Supernova Mew hits extremely hard.
You know, I think it might be banned. I think Genesis Supernova might be banned.
It kills Tapu Fini unboosted with a crit, which is basically +1. So, like, I think I'm pretty sure it kills Tapu Fini with Genesis Supernova, which is really, really cool. And Z-Move just brings so much more versatility to this mon, because not only most opponents will be expecting Mew, Neon, Z, but it can also run a lot of other choices of Z moves, such as Z Energy Ball,
Z anything.
Z whatever. Like, there's just so much possibility for Z moves with this mon, but as Santi just stated, that Mew is forced to run a defensive set most of the time, especially if he's in a hazard weak team. But so far his team isn't that susceptible to hazards except for Volcarona, and he might surprise his opponent by not bringing defensive Mew when his opponent expects the defensive Mew. So
yeah, and get a sweep.
Really cool Z-move choice there, and I believe that Mew is a fantastic first pick for him.
I'm just thinking that maybe Genesis Supernova is banned. And I'm trying to check on my phone right now, but I'm randomly getting notifications that I have 7 viruses and I have to fix them all. You know, that kind of stuff. So, Genesis Supernova. So, let me just check. So, well, it doesn't say anything about it. So I think it's allowed.
I'm assuming it's not banned, because then if I was George, I would pick Garchomp as his new movie here if Genesis Supernova was banned. So yeah. I'm assuming it's not banned.
Yeah, no, I think it's allowed actually. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And I believe that this year the GBA does not have a baton pass banning rule. So another interesting set that he can run with his team is baton pass with Source Dance or Nasty Plot into mons such as Superior or Mienshao, or maybe Speed Agility pass into X-Cloud, or he has a lot of variety of sets he can run with Mew, and especially because all his other picks can be ran like extremely broadly with boosts in certain stats. I believe that this Mew can be a huge asset for George this season, and it's definitely going to be something that he will want to use almost every week.
Yep. So Mew is basically the Pokemon that gets an enormous amount of moves.
Terrible pun right there, but yeah, let's move on.
Okay, Garchomp, next Pokemon. Oh, there's a Garchomp Mega over here.
Is probably one of my favorite Pokemon to use, not only in the standard OU. And the reason that I like Garchomp is that most people don't think that it has a wide move pool, and it does not. But the fact that it can fulfill so many roles in a team is just incredible in my opinion. So because Mew is his new mom, he can't run sets such as Dragonium D Chomp, which is pretty popular nowadays because +1 Dragon Claw Devastating Drake can actually kill a defensive Lando at full, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, I remember you used that against me in a league match.
Yeah, so with Garchomp, there is really only a few movesets, but it can fulfill its role extremely well. So the first moveset we have is defensive with items such as Rocky Helmet or even Leftovers, which is pretty common back in Aurora areas, but not that common nowadays, because Lando is just a better choice. And ability in Rough Skin, which can damage the Pokemon if they make physical contact.
Especially with Rocky Helmet.
Dual Stab and Ground and Dragon, which is pretty obvious, but he also got Stealth, which is huge, because right now he has two extremely reliable rockers in Mew and Garchomp, which is something he does not have to worry about for his next few picks. And he also has moves such as Toxic, which can really break down walls. He also has Roar, Dragon Tail, and moves such as Rain Dance if he really wants to pair it up with something like Thunder Raikou.
And Sunny Day. So because why not?
It's a really, really Pokemon, in my opinion, and I believe that it's going to come in handy a lot of the time, and it's going to just fulfill what it does best in the match. And it also gets coverage for fairies, which is really nice, as Iron Head and Poison Jab. So.
And let's talk about Genius's favorite set, Substitute Swords Dance. So Garchomp is also great offensively because you see that 102 speed he has. So that allows him to outspeed all the 100 base speed tier. And this is really something huge in OU and leagues. So a sweeper is also very good.
Is that Garchomp can outspeed mobs such as Charizard,
Mega
Charizard X, and Mega Charizard Y.
Mega Gardevoir too.
If your opponent has such a mob like Charizard, you can run sets such as Scarf Garchomp to counter the Mega Charizard X, because Scarf Garchomp outspeeds a +1 Charizard. Wait, Scarf Garchomp outspeeds a +1 D-down stuff Charizard X.
Yep.
And also, all of the Pixies, as you know, such as Irachi, Mew, Manaphy,
Victini.
I'm probably missing a few, but it outspeeds all of them. And also mons such as, I believe,
Mega Gardevoir, I know.
I'm pretty sure the Nihilego outspeeds it by 1 point at 103. Also outspeeds Volcarona, but like he has that mod, so it's not really a big deal. It also outspeeds Zapdos, and
true, and can run Stone Edge or predict a Roost and Earthquake.
And it also outspeeds Thunder Assyrian by 1 point, and also and Staraptor. Yeah, Staraptor is another one.
It outspeeds a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so like it's not extremely fast for an offensive mob,
but it's fast enough to do work.
Necessary speed here to outspeed threats that it can force out, which is great. And one thing you might notice is that Garchomp has a 4x weakness to ice, but I believe it can be easily played around with his rest of his drafts, such as Suicune, Registeel, Volcarona, and Mew, even as a defensive Spadef wall. You can always just run Yashi Berry for that ice resist if you want, but yeah. So that is going to be Garchomp, and
it's a really solid mon that does a really good job and has been in OU since it came out.
It has?
Yeah, it's always been in OU.
No,
wait, wasn't it Ubers at one point?
I'm not sure about PvP. I don't remember well. So moving on to the next pick, we have Togekiss.
Yeah, so this is kind of less good, but it's still a pretty decent mon. I mean, as a fairy type,
in my opinion, is one of the better mons in a league format than in standard OU. So most of you probably know Togekiss as the Serene Grace and a
flinch.
But in league, it can run a lot more sets, and it has moves such as Encore and Magic Coat and like that you would just never expect.
It also gets Heal Bell and Wish.
Like you can run Tailwind, you can run Thunderwave. Although Thunderwave did get nerfed this gen, but you can also run Wish. You can run stuff such as Counter, which is really, really cool. And it also has a decent special move pool with Stab and Fairy and Flying, which is pretty good defensive typing.
And it gets Flamethrower for all those steel types that might annoy you.
Interesting for mobs such as Cartano. but Kartana's not switching in on this special defense.
I'm pretty sure it even
also
dies
has
to Dazzling
a pretty
Gleam.
good special attack stat with 120. The only thing that's a little lacking from this mod is probably its speed stat with only base 80. But I believe that could be countered by his other picks, which are like Raikou and which we'll get into later. So.
Or he can use Thunder Wave to slow them down to a point where he can parry flinch them until death.
I'm pretty sure that's only you, Santi. So.
Yep, that's me. Thunder Wave Air Slash Togekiss. Best set. It also gets Nasty Plot. If it Nasty Plot Tailwind, and it can sweep. With the right coverage, of course.
I mean, you're wasting up 2 move slots with Nasty Plot and Tailwind, so you're not going to be running too much coverage.
Well, hey.
One thing I like about his first 3 picks so far is that they actually have really, really good piping synergy, so there's nothing very...
I mean, we can notice a weakness to ice.
Absolutely breaks through this defensive core. And, like, maybe, like, powerful ice types such as Cure and Black.
Or Weavile.
Probably just, like, powers through these 3 mons. But, like, other than that, I don't see anything from, like, really going past these mons. And one thing I'm really, really interested in is that Togekiss actually hard wars Garchomp in most scenarios. Like, even if Garchomp runs moves such as Arrowhead and Poison Jab, it can't break past Togekiss pretty easily, so that's something that's pretty interesting, considering he drafted the counter of his own mom, but... Yeah, so... There's also another set that you probably heard Envy run, which is Hustle Choice Band, or something similar.
Wait, is that a thing? It has 50 attack.
It has a base 50 attack, so I doubt George is going to run it too much this season, but it's definitely a possible set, because with Hustle, you get that 1.5...
that powerful base 75.
So
powerful.
It's basically like 2 choice bands on this mod. So, with accuracy debuff.
Yeah, and after all that, it reaches 100 base attack.
Which is not bad, actually.
I mean, but missing every single move.
Not reach 100.
Okay, we have to count more seriously.
It hits about, let me do some mental math. It hits like 270 something, 276.
That's still
276.
That's pretty bad. And what does Togekiss get in special attack with 0 special attack EVs?
What?
What's Togekiss's base special attack? Maybe it's higher than the attack after all. No, but I mean as EVs, as pure stats, you know.
276, exactly the same as a hustle boosted 200. Hustle boosted adamant 253 EV Togekiss.
Well, I'm not sure we're going to see physical banded Togekiss, but we can hope.
Yeah, so George's next pick is going to be Raikou, however you want to pronounce it.
The Thunder Dog.
So this one is a really, really interesting pick, in my opinion. Now,
just look at special attack and speed.
A lot of sets that I can run. It has a few coverage moves such as Shadow Ball and Signal Beam.
And Aura Sphere.
It's a pretty one-sided bomb. But as a fast Electric, it does its job well. And with its 115 base speed, which is pretty high, it can really punch holes to your opponent's team.
It can volt switch out of there.
Raikou doesn't work well with his rest of the draft as of currently, because it kind of just gives him it doesn't work well when it comes to momentum wise. It's like there's nothing else on his team that can provide momentum along with Raikou.
I mean, Mew gets U-turn, right?
You want to see with Vulture, you want to see strong, fast volt switches, slow U-turns, and a strong wall breaker for them to be able to bring in. But in this case, it's just a single volt switch on each. I'm not a big fan of, but I believe George drafted this mod because it's such a good fast electric type, which I believe
Wait
is
a
almost
second.
essential